Hello, this is Randall with the Philippines Project, and I just wanted to share some things with you that happened to me today. Um, Actually, it's a story about some things that happened, not to me, but just things that happened today here in the Philippines. So, anyway, let me get my camera set up right. Um, so, last night, uh, well, let me start out by saying this. We have a three motorcycle family. My motorcycle, Arvin's motorcycle, my brother in law, and Michael's motorcycle, my other brother in law. So in the mornings, there's five kids, one, two, three, four, five, six kids that have to get off to school. And there's Michael has to go to work. He's been working the last couple of weeks. And so he's usually the guy that does a lot of running, and Arvin, he does takes his kids. But Arvin's motorcycle was out of commission, and Michael has had to go to work like at 7 o'clock. So nobody there to take kids to school. Well, Arvin's there, but he doesn't have a motorcycle. So last night I told him, I said, I'm going to help you tomorrow to help the kids get off to school. And so when I went to bed last night, I was kind of like had it stuck in my mind. I had a real reason to get up in the morning. Not that I don't, I get up early anyway, but I had, there were people depending on me to do something tomorrow. So I apologize. I have to take a drink of some tea. My throat's been really dry. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I didn't do it. There's a balut driver go, going by, advertising his his wares. Okay, so anyway, I'm looking forward to getting up tomorrow, and in the Philippines you ride. Sometimes there's four or five people on one motorcycle, and I know that's unusual to a lot of people, a lot of countries. In the West you won't see that. Two people max, right? You know, weird if you see a kid on a bike, with the adults, something like that. It's just kind of unusual unless you have a sidecar or something. But I knew the next morning that this morning that I was going to have three kids on my bike and me, so four people. And I'd never done that before. They'd asked me, "Oh, you want to go pick up the kids?" I'm like, I don't know how I feel about two or three extra people on the bike. They're small, but still, I was kind of getting my my legs under me on my motorcycle. I hadn't really ridden very much in a couple of years, so I got up this morning in anticipation of that. I'm going to take these kids off to school, and so I get up, and it's getting close to 7 o'clock. That's what they told me. The time to go is 7 o'clock. Of course, I get ready. I'm down there about 10 till 7. Nobody's, nobody's even thinking about really being ready. They're stirring around. They're doing whatever they do. And I knew they was really ready whenever Marvin, he pops open the door and he says, "Hi, Tito." And he's standing there. Oh, he's got a little tiny pair of briefs on. So he wasn't ready to go. So anyway, long story short on that, they got ready. I get on my bike and I'm getting ready for them to all get on. They're all out there and they're talking. I don't know what they're saying. I don't understand their language. It's Ilongo, and I know some Tagalog, some things crisscross, but the kids, they don't know any Tagalog. They don't know hardly any English at all. So, I don't know what they were saying. But so Marvin, he gets on behind me. He's about, I'd say 6 or 7. Yeah, he gets on me, and I can just feel his little hands. They're just small. He grips my shirt, on both sides of me. And I thought, here we go. And we're trying to decide whether to put Irish, little girl, she's probably 6, on the back. She's going to kindergarten. She's going to school for about 3 hours. And, or put her up in front, like on the gas tank. And I thought, well, how am I going to see? So we decided, we're going to put her in back. And she rides back there sometimes. So But that was part of the issue, getting the kids on there. But then they had all their book bags, and they're sticking stuff on both sides of my handlebars. I'm carrying two sets of bags on each handlebar. I've got three kids behind me on my motorcycle, and you're probably thinking that's unsafe. I'm like, yeah, that's a little unsafe. Is it unsafe? Probably. Um, One thing people don't think about when they say that, they think a traditional motorcycle, you're going to be going 60 mile an hour. No, I probably went top speed of 20, today, going, taking them to school. So we get on there, and, we live on a little bit of a dirt road. It's just a dirt street. And then you got this little embankment you go up, it's concrete, and you're up on the concrete road. So that was my goal. Is like, if I can just get over that hump and keep all three kids on the bike, I'm going to be happy. So yeah, got all the book bags swinging on my handlebars and kids, and I got up there on the concrete. One of them, Marvin, I think it was, he's just leaning to one side, looking and looking to the other side. If you ever rode a motorcycle, that's not really cool. I mean, you shouldn't do that. So I'm like, hey, I'm just reaching my hand back around, trying to say, hey, sit still. Of course, they don't know what I'm saying. They have no idea, but they know that I'm upset with whatever they're doing. So they kind of got a little better. But, with three people on behind you, and going through town, and made my little turn, and they didn't really lean with the bike too much. So again, if you've ever ridden a bike, you know what that's like. It's kind of hard to turn if they don't cooperate. So I went on down, and I can see the school coming up on my right hand side. I have no idea really where to let these kids off at. But obviously there's a lot of cars, a lot of tricycles, a lot of C-Cods, a lot of motorcycles, all pulled off the side of the road. So I just kind of pull over close to the sidewalk, and I said, "Is this the place? Is this the place?" Of course, I say it in a questioning way, so I hope they can understand. At least the oldest one, Van. Is this the right place to drop you off? And nobody got off. And all of a sudden, about that time, one second. About that time, from behind me comes this little hand, little tan hand. He comes up like that. He just, he's pointing like to go on farther. So he knew what I needed to hear and see. So I'm like, okay. So I get back out and we go down a little bit ways, and there's another crosswalk, and a lot of smaller kids are getting off. I'm like, okay, we got to be good here. So I pull in over there, and I stop. But still, nobody's getting off. So I'm kind of wondering, you know, is this the right place? And so again, this little hand comes out like this, right beside it. Just comes out in my vision there. It just goes like that. I said, okay, I'm good. We got to the right place. And uh, so Van gets off again. He's the oldest. And I thought, how's this little girl going to get off my bike? I said, Van, help Irish get off the bike. Well, she didn't need help. She just hopped down. She might as well have been on the couch in the living room or something like that. She just jumped right off. She's in her element. I wasn't in my element, but they were in their element. So anyway, and Marvin got off, and I was like, okay, I'll see you later. And Irish runs up and she grabs my handlebar. All those book bags and stuff were still on there. I was getting ready to go, and she wasn't going to go to school without her little girly book bag or backpack that she had some kind of little cartoon on it or something. I don't know. It's pink, and these kids, I swear, they're just so cute. They all get on the motorcycle, and Van and Marvin, they've got this like a light blue button down, formal shirt on, and then they've got dark blue pants, dress pants, and they've got black shoes, and they wear the same thing every day. Irish, she's got a little white shirt on, a little plaid, blue and green, I think. She's got like stripes running through it, and a little skirt, and got her little girly shoes on, and every one of them's dressed exactly alike. So it's just really a sight to see. Um, Hundreds of kids all dressed exactly the same way, all got the same color hair. the difference is maybe their book bag or their backpack, and they're all with their friends and they're just, 7, 8, 10, 12 years old. They're just chatty, little groups of girls, little groups of guys, and it's just amazing. It's the innocence of young people that I don't see in the West anymore. That's the way I grew up. Now I didn't wear uniforms, but we didn't know anything when we were that young. And these kids are pretty naive about how the world works and the things that goes on, and as well they should be. But it's not that way in the U.S. anymore. Everybody's sophisticated. The kids grow up. They've got cell phones. They've got tablets. They're given a tablet at age 3, and they just sit there and stare at it all day. Whatever they want to see, they can see. And I know some people have some parental controls, whatever. But they're a lot more sophisticated. Their thinking process is a lot more advanced than what these kids are. And not that they're smarter in any way. I'm not putting them down. But there's an innocence here in the Philippines that you will not get in the West. And to witness it firsthand, like I did, I know it's there, and I witness it from day to day, and I see the kids. But to see that many together, that was such a blessing to me. I mean, I went down the road, turned around, and come back, and went back to the house. I just sat down. My wife was upstairs on her upstairs garden. My throat's pretty dry because I just did this video about a half an hour ago. I went up for 20 minutes, and and I had no sounds. So my throat's dry already. I had to do the video over. But I got back home and I sat down with my wife. She was upstairs on the rooftop, messing with her plants, and I just telling her about the whole experience, about the kids moving around, and she's interested. She took a little video of us taking off, and just the whole experience of just witnessing all those little kids, and we've lost something in the West that they have here. And sometimes I talk about the best of the Philippines. That is the best. That's the best. The innocence of the children, the respect that they have for their elders. You know, I like to watch Jordan Peterson from time to time. He's one of my favorite speakers on YouTube, and he has a saying. You need to teach your kid as a parent. Your number one job is to teach your kid by the age of 4 to be able to get along with people and be respectful and have people not hate your kid. He said if people hate your kids, you haven't done your job. I don't know what they're doing here in the Philippines, but these little kids are just little dolls. There's a few. There's a few that that I don't know what the parents are doing, but the majority, by the time they get in school, these kids are pretty smoothed out. I mean, I love them. The little kids, just the looks on their faces, the way they look at you. In America, as a person of my age, you're looked at as somebody that's just old fashioned. Maybe you're a racist. Maybe you got old fashioned, you're bigoted, and oh, you don't know what's going on. Do you even know how to use Facebook? Or, they don't know me at all. But you kind of get that attitude, and it's just something you don't have here. So I'm going to try to hurry up. Um, excuse me. So I had the opportunity a little later in the day to go back and get them, or go back and get Van Van. The other two had already come back home. So I said, sure, let's go. So Arvin, he got on his bike, and we had got it fixed during the middle of the day. Uh, okay, about 15 seconds, I'll tell this. We pull up there, and I figure it's going to be expensive. I'm going to go ahead and pay for it. I want the kids to be safe on the bike. I want him to have, him to be safe on the bike. Get a bearing out. And so that's where after we dropped him off, that's where we went. We pulled up there. The guy took the tire off, took the bearing out, put a new one on, told him his brake pads need to be changed. He changed the brake pads, put it all back together. Arvin said it's going to be 298 pesos. I was like, oh, okay. So I gave him 300 pesos, and I dropped a tip on the mechanic there for 50 pesos. That's $1. It cost $6 to get the bikes fixed. That's a brand new bearing. Take off, put it back on, put brand new brake pads on, test the brakes. Everything's good to go. We rolled out of there for $7. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. Anyway, so Arvin said, hey, you want to go back and get Van? I'm going to go. I said, sure. I hopped on the bike. I didn't have my wallet, didn't have nothing, didn't even have a helmet. So we're running through the back roads to the school and going to pick up Van. Again, he's about 10 years old. And we get back there and we get pulled in and we get off our bikes and it begins to rain. It's been cloudy all day and hearing thunderstorms. It begins to rain. We back up under this tree and trying to stay out of the rain. And Van, he comes out, but by that time, it's already coming down pretty hard. I don't know if you've been around Filipinos very much or not. Maybe you have some experience, maybe you don't, but they don't like to be in the rain. They don't like to get soaking wet in the rain. Who does? But we don't, as Americans or whatever. But he said you don't have enough sense to get in out of the rain. But Filipinos really, as a rule, don't like it. I mean, it's like, I don't know. They'll run from the rain like a dog's chasing them almost. So we're all backed up under that tree and we're still getting wet. So they said, oh, you want to go into the school? I said, sure, let's go. It is pouring down rain. And they all run, they take off. And, I'm 61 years old. I get around pretty good, but I've got a pair of flip flops on. They're rubber. I'm walking through puddles. My feet are slipping and, on my flip flops. So I'm not about to take off running. And you got to go through this metal gate. And there's a bunch of kids coming out. They're running, trying to get out. And I don't know if they're going to open their umbrella or what, but they're coming through the gate. And I see my chance, but there's a girl pretty good ways away. I thought, okay, I'm going to slip through there real quick before she gets up there, and then she can go. Well, about the time I got on the other side, she just slams right into me. And she's all, oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. I said, no, don't worry about it. I'm okay. And so she took off, and we go in around the corner, and it's just kind of like an open air. It had a screen on it, but it's like an open. Well, it didn't have a screen. An open air porch on the outside of this, on the inside of this building, and we're kind of in just a foyer area, and it's all lined. Just had some bars up there, kind of like a little prison. Had some bars up there, and rain was coming pouring down off the roof, and I'm just looking outside, and it was pretty nice. I thought, man, what would it be like to go to school in palm trees right in the middle of your schoolyard? It's nothing to them, but I think it's pretty cool. So, the boys, they're in there too. And me and Arvin, we're just kind of leaning back up against the wall, and I'm just kind of taking it all in. Probably 100 little girls and boys, all in the same uniform. Little girls chit-chatting with each other. I have no idea what they're saying. Little boys running around doing this. Mothers and fathers are in there, and we're just all kind of waiting out the rain. So, I don't know. It just really struck me. Again, I like, in my mind anyway, I like to talk about the best of the Philippines. And as I leaned back against the wall, I looked at the two boys, and they had got these little cups out of the trash. They're just trying to play with anything. They've got these little cups, and they're sticking their hands out of the building there, and the rain's coming off through, and they're trying to fill their little cups up, and they're throwing the water, cleaning something up, or I don't know what they're doing. They're playing a little game. That's what kids do. And as I'm just leaning back there and I'm with my brother-in-law, I'm in the Philippines, for God's sakes, And that's always been a dream of mine. And I'm watching my two little nephews. By this time they'd had their little uniform shirts off. They had their little singlet, or you call it a wife beater, little, you know, sleeveless T-shirt, and they're just they're just as cute as they can be, and they're just playing the game, just living the life, man. They're just having fun. And I just thought to myself, I said, don't miss this. I said someday one of them boys is gonna be 20 years old, or their dad gonna be 55, 60. Remember that day when Tito came to pick you up at school and it rained, and we had to go into school, and we waited on the rain that day, and you guys played in the water, and just reliving that whole moment. Why can't we? Why can't we just live that moment while we're living it? And they'll always remember that. Well, at least I hope they will. Maybe they'll forget it. But life has a way of bringing those things back to you. And I just thought, what a blessing, just to be able to experience that. All the little kids, just the overwhelming quality of life that they have. And yeah, they have their challenges, but they face it with a smile, and they face it without complaint. You won't hear complaining here. I don't. I don't ever hear it. My brother-in-laws never complain. If they do in a bad situation, they kind of make a joke out of it and just go on. We could take a long lesson from that. But yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the best things that I've experienced in the Philippines is today. I was recalling the story to my wife, and I tell you what, I just teared up. You know, to the privilege to get to see people in action like that. You know, the innocence of the children, the whole community. It's just everyday life, and people in the West think that's all there is what they have, and living in America, living in the UK, living in Canada, you know, we're missing out on a lot of good stuff. And there's people around the world that don't live like us and live better than us in some ways. We could learn a lot from. So, anyway, that was my experience today. I'll never forget it. I hope you made it to the end of this. It's 12 minutes. Boy, I shortened it. I don't know what I said in the first video because the sound was turned off. My microphone wasn't even synced up. So, anyway, if you like the content, you know the routine. Hit the like button. Make a comment. These things help the video to the channel grow, and I appreciate anybody that can hit the like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and tell me what you think about the content. Until next time, it's Randall with the Philippines Project. Have a great day.